It's Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by my good friend and top super middleweight contender, John Ryder. John, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I've been sat here waiting since Friday morning, 9:30. This was meant to happen. It's now Sunday afternoon at 8 o'clock in the evening. Mate, you let me go down not once, not twice, but we've got here at the third time.
I've let myself down as well. At least you haven't had to miss EastEnders, though.
Luckily, granted, it's not on a Sunday, so I'm not missing that. But what I'm going to do is now I'm going to text Charlie Parsons, Oscar Bevis, and see if they'd leave me hanging this long.
Brilliant.
And I'm pretty sure they wouldn't.
Mate, I feel terrible. It's been a rough couple of weeks for you, isn't it? With like Canelo and then obviously Lola, poor Lola dying in EastEnders. Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it.
Yeah, you
Hard
just
stuff.
ruined the omnibus for someone, didn't you? Maybe.
Anyway, talking of Canelo, we could talk more about Lola, but I think more people are going to be interested in the Canelo fight. Didn't go brilliantly for you right from the start because of the nose. Just tell us how that happened and what your immediate reaction was when you realised it had broken.
I think it was the last punch of the second round.
Mm.
And in my head, I'd leant right over into a shot, but having watched it back, I wasn't. It was just, I was on the front foot as such and just disguised it with the jab in hand and put the uppercut in there and crunch, busted nose, felt the crack and the crunch, and then just felt the stream of blood from my nostrils and down the back of my throat. So yeah, it changed things for a while, but it's the fight game, innit? You got to adapt and overcome, and we didn't overcome, but we adapted, and it was good to stay in there and mix it with him and try everything.
And when it first happens and you realise it's broken, how do you stop yourself from going into panic mode and just game plan going completely out the window?
Well, it's tough. I mean, because obviously Seltzer took over in the corner, and Tony was more giving the instructions from outside, and Seltzer was straight in there. But he's got the flannel over my nose, cleaning my nose up, cleaning the blood up, and he's telling me to breathe. And the only place I can breathe from is my mouth, and that's got a cold flannel covering it. So that was a bit of a job at times. But yeah, it's a good experience. The thing as well, I've been working on nasal only breathing with my mindset coach Greg Meehan throughout camp, and the big thing of breathing through the nose and whatnot, and yeah, just all completely went out the window.
Jesus. So how did the game plan change at that point? Because you were working your way into the fight before the nose went. It was very competitive. But then it's like, right, I've got this big handicap, this big hurdle to overcome. What, if anything, changed?
I think it was just a bit more defensive from then on in. I think just more counter punching, I suppose. Just letting him lead off and going back at him as such. But it's a shame because anything when I kind of did get my confidence back and start throwing, it was hard to sustain the attacks because of the lack of oxygen. I was throwing a few shots, landing a few shots, and having to get back on the outside to kind of get my breath back to go again. So I was losing valuable time there and just wasting time and put myself back in the firing line in the danger zone. So it was not ideal.
And you were saying off camera, you've never had your nose broken before. Although it's like we said, one off the bucket list, it must feel like terrible luck to have come in your biggest fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame. I mean, obviously, you've probably broken your nose a couple of times, size of it.
I thought you meant other people, so I was going to say never.
Yeah, no, yeah. So first time broken my nose. You'd be surprised for how much I hate myself that I haven't done it myself already. But yeah, I mean, like I say, all experience. It's just a shame it happened when it did, but that's life.
How good is Canelo? You said in the lead up that you thought he might be just starting to pass his prime and slipped a little bit from a couple of years before. Having now been in with him, what's your reflection on that?
Listen, I'll stick by it. I'll say he probably is past his prime, and that's it's not a criticism to him. It's probably downplaying myself, even if anything. But the unfortunate thing, my nose going I feel like it did really change things up a bit. But listen, he's still a very good fighter, and I mean, look, so far it's only been the move up in weight that's beat him. So I'm sure he's still got a lot to offer at the super middleweight division. I don't know if he's got any any room being at 175. I don't know if that's sensible for him in the long run. But listen, he's still an exceptional fighter. He's done it through all the weight so far, and he's been great for the sport.
How much do you think this may have done for your profile? Obviously, you didn't get the win, but you've soldiered on with a broken nose, taken Canelo the distance, which not everyone manages to do, and we're still in there throwing back, even in the 12th round. I imagine in the US, certainly, your star must have risen.
Yeah, I mean, I've received a lot of love on social media and whatnot, and it's quite humbling after the upset of a defeat and whatnot of that magnitude. I mean, that level of fight. So it's heartwarming to get that support and that backing of the fans, just to be giving you all the warrior shouts and whatnot. But regardless of that, yeah, I still feel I've got a lot to offer the sport, and at this level, I don't think I need to be dropping down to levels to get back up there again. I feel like I'm still there for big fights. So I hope they come. I hope these names mentioned are there for me. The Munguias, the Plants, the Benavides. I hope they're all there. The Golovkins. I hope these are all something that can happen.
Well, you mentioned Munguia there. He obviously won yesterday against Sergei Derevianchenko. Real war, but came through it, outlasted him. What did you make of it? If you've had a chance to see it?
I've not yet seen it. I've read a few reports that the scorecards were a bit one-sided and they was a bit not how they should have been. But I mean, you get that in boxing. It's one of the things. Derevianchenko is a great fighter himself. I don't think he's much of a super middleweight though. I think he's better suited to the middleweight division. But listen, he obviously fancied his chances of beating him, and from what I hear, many thought he did.
And you said you don't think Canelo's got any business at 175, but do you see him vacating any of those 168 belts anytime soon?
I don't know. I mean, I'd say he's in the the downward road now of his career, and he's probably looking to cash in. So, I mean, I know he wants to take care of business with Bivol back up at 175 and sees that as the only option, but I really don't know. I think there's still good fights out there for him. The Benavides fight is huge, not only for boxing but for Mexico. There is still great fights out there from the Charlos. Anyone out there.
Well, apparently he's recently turned down a big money offer to fight Benavides, but obviously generally it's Canelo that makes the offers rather than him considering them from other fighters. What I wanted to ask though is about the Bivol rematch. Apparently, and Canelo's admitted this, Bivol was offered the same terms financially for a rematch as he got in the first fight, even though he was victorious. What would you make of that? Because Canelo's still clearly the A side, but Bivol did win the first fight, and that's not being reflected in the offer.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all politics, and I don't get involved in that side of it. It's down to them, and if he wanted that fight badly enough, I'm sure they made an offer he couldn't refuse to get the fight. But then I'm reading that he's going to fight Badou Jack in Abu Dhabi. So maybe I suppose he's already won the world title at light heavyweight, beating Kovalev years ago. So maybe he'll look to go for Badou Jack and take another weight off the list.
Would you give him a pretty good chance in that one if he went up and fought Badou Jack?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, Badou Jack's an aging fighter himself, isn't he? He's past his best, but listen, he's still got the power, and I think a lot of these great fighters, they might not have the timing or the speed, but that power remains and forever makes them dangerous.
Now, if Canelo does keep those 168 belts tied up for the time being, what is it that will motivate you? What type of fights do you want that's going to keep you motivated?
Just the biggest and best fighters I can be in. I'm not in this to make up the numbers. As soon as I feel like boxing's getting better at me, then I'll walk away a happy man and focus on, I don't know, family and becoming a trainer, passing knowledge on. But listen, I still feel like I've got a lot to give. I feel like I still gave a lot in that fight, and like you say, took a ton of respect from it. So I feel like there's still some good years left in me, some good fights. So as long as I feel that way and I'm enjoying my training and whatnot, then I'll continue.
So if your next fight, you could have anyone you want. Pretend I'm a genie. I mean, I'm fat enough. Who would you pick?
I'd like to see you fit in a lamp, though.
Yeah, well, it'd have to be a big lamp, wouldn't it? But yeah, who would you fight if you could fight anyone next?
Listen, I'd love to fight Golovkin. I've been a fan of Golovkin for years. But then, fair enough, I'd love to fight the Munguias, the Plants, Benavides. They're big fights. I'd love them all.
It seems like a lot of people are calling Golovkin out at the moment. You've been doing it for a while. Well, I don't mean you so much, but more recently, the likes of Munguia and a few others. It seems to be a little bit of roles reversed because on the way up, no one really wanted to fight Golovkin. He didn't have a high-profile amateur star, and now I think people are assuming he's a bit past his prime, similar to Canelo, I suppose, and they want a piece of him.
Yeah, of course. I mean, listen, he's not a career super middleweight, is he? He's a middleweight, so I think you'll probably see his days out there. So listen, I'm just talking about him as a fighter. I've got a ton of respect for him. I like the way he's conducted himself in the sport and always held himself well, and I admire that in him. So listen, it'd be a privilege and an honour to share a room with him, but I'd still go in there and try and take his head off. But yeah, I mean the likes of Plant, Munguia, they're big fights. Obviously, Munguia's got that unbeaten record, so it'd be a joy to try and take that from him.
And having fought Canelo out in Mexico, are you keen to do more of the same? Go out to the US and fight one of those guys, or even Golovkin in his home country, or are you keen now to get a bit more of a homecoming?
No, I mean I loved Mexico, so I'd go back to Mexico and fight any one of them. Obviously, it wouldn't make sense to have Golovkin in Mexico, but the likes of Munguia, yeah, happy days. I'd fight them in Mexico. It was a great place, very hostile at times, but very welcoming and warming at times as well.
And just without being kind of too nosy about it, but from a financial aspect, is that you more or less set up now, or is there still more to do? How do you feel about that side of it?
I'm set on the same sofa you've seen me on for years. I've got a high vis on. I've been working on the roads today, sweeping and digging.
Sweeping and digging, yeah.
does it look like I've had all the rewards yet?
Not yet, but it takes time for money to clear, doesn't it? You were saying
we've not had a power cut this time, so that helps.
You were saying on Groves' podcast, you've already been on Rightmove, so that you're going in the right direction.
Listen, we can all window shop, can't we? I've been on Rightmove, Rolls Royce, and Selfridges, but I've not spent a dime. So call me a window shopper.
Still more to achieve. And you said to me the other day you were going into work with Felix Cash because Tony was out in Prague, obviously for West Ham's Conference League final. Is that something you've done before? Kind of filled in when Tony's been away?
Yeah, I mean, I've always helped out, taking the boys sparring if Tony's away, and yeah, I think he's. I'm not turning in my boxing in yet and turning my hand to training, but I've always took over if Tony needs to get away, and Tony and Kevin was both away at the big event of the West Ham final. So it's a pleasure to be trusted to do it.
And what's that like when it is with someone you're friends with and stablemates with, like Felix, for example, going from being a mate, going on the runs together, sparring each other, to you're the one telling him what to do?
Well, I think it's not too dissimilar to doing it with Tony. We're all very friendly with Tony, but there's that respect. We know when it's time to laugh and joke or when it's time to be serious. And listen, I think regardless of me being years older than Felix and having that as a coach, I think he respects what I've done in and out of the ring. So I think he listen just for respect from that.
And you see that as your future, obviously, like you said, you've got plenty of big fights left in you. But after that, do you see yourself transitioning immediately into coaching your own fighters?
Well, people say I've got the face for radio, so I don't think I could really take your job and be on screen. Do you know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah, because being good looking is clearly a prerequisite to do my job. Yeah.
That bit of sun's got to your face there, and it made you look too hot.
Yeah, it covers up the worst sins, doesn't it? But yeah, going straight into training, is that the plan?
Well, I mean, you never know. Do you know what I mean? I'm still very much love boxing, and I feel like I've got more out of boxing than boxing gotten out of me so far. So I'm still in love with the sport and still love everything about it. And yeah, I think why not? It would be great to put back.
And have you spoken much to Eddie Hearn since you've been back about what his plans are for you, what he'd like to do going forward?
No, I see him briefly in Dublin.
Dublin, yeah.
The Katie Taylor Chantel Cameron fight, and just had a little catch up. Nothing major, just a few words. But yeah, I'm sure once I get back myself in the gym, get fit and raring to go, then we'll sit down and discuss the possibilities.
And at that fight in Dublin, the famous capital
Yeah.
of Ireland,
Yeah.
how close were you to the row, if you want to call it, between Conor Benn and Kell Brook?
Well, funny enough, I went to the toilet between fights with Tony, and then we come back and see both of them getting ushered out the arena, and we thought, oh, we missed it. So yeah, not that close at all, really.
Has Conor said much to you about it since?
No, I see him there that night, obviously, but I didn't see him. Not seen him since that. So yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you know as much as I do. Listen, there's obviously a bit of needle there, and what's better to sell a fight than a bit of needle, and the fans are buying into it, so it's a good thing.
I think Kell would never have had the nerve to have a pop if you were there, mate. I think he waited for you to go.
No, listen, Kell's a good man. Got a lot of respect for Kell, and I think it's a mutual respect we get on. Obviously, Connor's my boy, but listen, me and Kell go back. I've done a lot of camps with him, helping him sparring, so there's a lot of respect for Kell.
Well, let's hope that their antipathy currently turns to respect. Even
well, let's hope they can both get on and make loads of cash and move on with an handshake after and be friends again.
And there's the respect.
That's Brilliant.
It. Mate, really appreciate it. Great to see you in action. Obviously, not so much when the nose got broken, but you came back well, and I think you earned a lot of people's respect. So, yeah, fair play.
I bet you was a bit satisfied when you see me get my nose busted, weren't you? You're thinking deep down, I wish that was me that done that to him.
Oh, yeah, that's different.
All them times he's giving me shit. I wish I was one that busted his nose.
Yeah, but I mean, realistically, that's never going to happen, is it? So,
well, exactly.
I had word with Canelo. I had it with my mate Canelo, and I asked him
pal, yeah.
For me. Send the boys round.
That's it. Send the heavy mob.
Yeah, mate. Really appreciate it, and yeah, let's catch up again soon.
Cheers, Flex Best. Take care, mate.
Anytime. See you, mate.
Take care. Bye.